Hey, figure one, what do you see right now?
I see a red apple on a plate in the center of the table, a drying rack with cups and a plate, and you standing nearby with your hand on the table.
Great, can I have something to eat?
Sure thing.
Great. Can you explain why you did what you just did while you pick up this trash?
On it. So I gave you the apple because it's the only edible item I could provide you with from the table.
Great. So, based on the scene right now, where do you think the dishes in front of you go next?
The dishes on the table, like that plate and cup, are likely to go into the drying rack next.
Great. Can you put them there?
Of course.
All right, so how do you think you did?
I think I did pretty well. The apple found its new owner, the trash is gone, and the tableware is right where it belongs.
I agree. Thanks, figure one.
You're welcome. If there's anything else you need help with, just let me know.
But AI, artificial intelligence, they're heading towards what they call the singularity. And what's the singularity, people ask? That's where humanity and tech merge. There's a merging. That's what they call the singularity. When humanity and tech, mankind and technology, robotics, whatever, AI, digital consciousness, all this merge, and there's so much with it. But here's the point. In 2019, the Lord shared with us that there would be a silent step with AI. And then in 2020, it was going to be a little quieter, and it wasn't about the technology, it was who is programming it, who's running it, Doctor Who. And then we saw 21, 22, and it was just kind of like quiet, like you didn't hear much. And I believe this is going to really come out now with a roar again, okay? I believe that AI will come out with a roar, and you're going to hear more and more about it, and people will start understanding it more. And not understanding it at all at the same time. I don't even think the makers of it fully understand what it is capable of, but that gets into all the CERN stuff. So that's going to begin to happen more. In verse 11, Revelation 13, now this has to do with AI, artificial intelligence. Let me just talk to you about this briefly, okay? Verse 11, it says, then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. He had two horns like the lamb and spoke like a dragon. He exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. He performs great signs. Check this out. So that he even makes fire come down from heaven. Verse 14, and he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast. Those who dwell on the earth. This is man-made.
Yeah.
You understand? So the Antichrist, this false narrative, this Luciferian spirit, at some point is telling humanity, make an image to the beast. So this is man-made. We need to understand that. Make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. Verse 15, he was granted power to give, get this, breath to the image of the beast, should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed.
Wow.
He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand and on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of the name. of his name. Here is the wisdom. Let him calculate the understanding, the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. Now, there's been a lot of ink spilled over this, but I think, without going way down that bunny trail today, it's very possible what this is talking about is an artificial intelligence, because mankind created the image, but demonically, do you understand? Demonically, it was granted to bring breath to it. In other words, I believe Satan enters into that, or demonic power enters. Maybe it's a computer technology, maybe it's a digital holographic image, maybe it's a robotic figure that suddenly becomes possessed and it's able to move. But AI will be powering that, I believe. And that's probably what we're looking at. So that could be the singularity beyond words right there. But I also believe that before that can happen, before that could even take place, the church has to be removed out of here, because we're the ecclesia. So AI, it's getting more and more advanced, but I'll tell you what, we're here. Jesus is Lord, and we got some good days in front of us.
We do.
Well, let's take a look at a video that never happened, because OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, has unveiled a new artificial intelligence model that takes written prompts and video in a matter of seconds. I'm looking at the video there, and the graphics are just remarkable. There it is. The tool is named SORA, and it has the potential to revolutionize the content creation space.
It's an AI technology that generates video from a text prompt. So you describe what you want to see briefly in a sentence or a paragraph, and then over the course of several minutes, the system will generate what you've described. It's similar to systems that your viewers may be familiar with that do much the same thing with still images. Systems like DALL-E, which came out of OpenAI as well, or Midjourney, that can instantly create a still image. The only difference here is that we're looking at moving images. It is a remarkable thing, even for people in the field that are closely following this. It's an eye-opening moment when you first see these videos.
And the big concerns over misinformation, disinformation, fake news, basically. Is that something that is of great concern because of this technology in particular?
That's the much bigger concern. As we pointed out, job loss happens all the time with technology. What's really different here is that you're seeing systems that can generate text, still images, and now video that looks like the real thing. We're approaching a world where it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to tell what is real from what is not. And the implications of that are obvious, particularly in a year, so many people are concerned that this type of thing can swing in, not this year, in the years to come.
Yeah, the fake video and the plausible deniability.
And over the next couple of years, we're going to see so much involving artificial intelligence. People will be able to make their movies like never before, and Hollywood's in trouble. I sense this powerfully. I prophesy this, that there's going to come a collapse in the media and entertainment, especially when it involves woke and liberal stuff. I believe we're going to begin to see a rise of conservative media and indie conservatives that begin to rise up and bring truth out. And like we prophesied a year ago, Disney's not too big to fall. It's crumbling.
Breaking news, Cinderella Castle burned to the ground yesterday. The castle caught fire early in the morning and sent smoke pouring throughout the Magic Kingdom. It took nearly an hour for firefighters to respond and start battling the flames. However, by that time it was too late, as Cinderella Castle was already fully engulfed in flames. The firefighters battled it throughout the night as guests and onlookers watched as the tragedy unfolded. They did everything they could to save the castle and prevent as much damage as possible. However, the castle ended up burning to the ground and is unsalvageable.
And we have all that out for you to check out. There's so much going on with this, and I believe there's going to be grassroots populist media makers, citizen journalism, and citizen film, citizen indie filmmakers, conservative citizen indie filmmaking. We're going to see more of it, and it's going to get the attention of the culture. And it's going to operate with the culture's language, which is the golden rule. Whoever has all the gold makes all the rules. And the sound of freedom, the hypocrites in Hollywood barely acknowledge it, but it doesn't matter because whoever has all the gold and keeps winning at the box office makes the rules. And we're going to see more and more of it. Familiar? Telling you. This is a familiar thing. We've seen this before. Where? Well, last fall. Hawaii. And we're seeing this again now. Now, this stuff is happening in a lot of different areas, and of course, there's a conversation even regarding Texas over the last couple of weeks with the fires and things that took place there. Now, there's a lot that could be fabricated with these things or could absolutely be real. The Spirit of the Lord prophesied this last fall, the last 2 years, that when they begin to talk about solar flares, and then there's glitches in technology, there's glitches in all these things, it is a manufactured narrative. And they're using it as an excuse to truly marshal us towards something. So let's go ahead and take a look at the all-knowing Simpsons as they begin to talk about some of these narratives. I'm going to show you a few clips about solar flares. I want to talk about this a little further. Then we're going to get into some more in-depth things about this Illuminati mess that I think is actually going on. Let's watch this clip about the Simpsons with the solar flares. Predictive programming, friends. Predictive programming. Look at that. Predictive programming. Solar flares, wiping it all out. They want people to think this way. They want to get it into your psyche. Now let's go to the next one about a storm warning with solar flares. Check this out.
All right, so scientists, some, are sounding the alarm on a so-called solar superstorm
Sounding
that
the alarm.
could, and this is important, underline the word could, eventually wipe out the internet for weeks or even months.
Solar flare
Scientists have
superstorm.
revealed that a new solar storm is coming, and it may have dire consequences for the world. Reports suggest that this storm will be the biggest humanity has seen in 100 years and may have the power to take down Earth's entire technological infrastructure. So, what is the cause of this imminent wave of disruption? How will it impact humanity, and do we need to be worried? Let's take a closer look. The imminent solar storm. Indian astronomers have recently issued a cautionary alert, expressing concerns about an impending powerful solar storm that has the potential to disrupt global internet connectivity for several weeks. Researchers have made a noteworthy discovery regarding the correlation between the sun's magnetic field and its sunspot cycle, offering insights into predicting the peak of solar activity.
The sun has a very predictable, but actually quite mysterious cycle of activity. It gets
Fascinating.
very, very active every 11 years, and then it settles back down to more of a peaceful existence.
Initially, NASA projected that the next solar maximum would commence in late 2025. However, a recent study has disclosed an accelerated timeline, suggesting an earlier onset, most likely in early 2024.
Okay, let me stop this for a
The
second to
study-
say something. As you're looking at this, think with me about the technological glitches you're seeing, cell phones, the way things are having power outages, the internet, Facebook, some of this, and I believe a lot more is to come. And I'm going to go into this in depth just a little further in a moment, but listen now. This is exactly what the Spirit of the Lord began to talk to me about all the way back in September 16th of 2023 when I had a vision where I was sleeping in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I woke up in the Spirit in Las Vegas, and as I was there, I heard the Spirit of the Lord say these words: what happens in Vegas or what's happening in Vegas will not stay in Vegas. They were under a cyber attack. I believe we are headed for a cyber pandemic, a cyber collision. and there's going to be a rise and more of a rise. They're going to blame it on solar flares. They're going to blame it on other nations. They're going to blame it on Russia, the Red Dragon. They're going to blame it on all this stuff. And it's all for a purpose of where we're headed here. We're coming to a valley of decision, and there's so much more we're going to get into. Let me show you another more recent solar flare video just from a couple days ago, March 11th. Look at this.
We're starting with the last 24 hours on our star.
Keeping it on our grid.
Right after the morning show with an impulsive solar flare from the sunspot group that's beginning to depart. A few other minor pops occurred, and we've got several plasma filaments to keep an eye on. And although impulsive, the flare did appear to have a significant working of the local corona, and a faint CME signature can even be seen on SOHO as well. The initial NASA endless spiral for the event shows a potential glancing blow from the weak CME towards the middle to latter part of the week. It'll be relevant, but not scary.
Now, why am I bringing this out to us? Let me just look right at you. I'm bringing this out to us because I believe this is a mechanism by which they will say something is happening that is not happening, but then they can get everybody on the same page. Everybody goes, oh, solar flare. Or everybody says, oh my goodness, interference from another party. And then they'll be able to shut things down and, God forbid, shut down the entire global World Wide Web or something else. And if they begin to push that narrative, I got to tell you, I got hope in all this. I'm not in any way intimidated, scared, or shrinking back. I sense a very strong response to this. I believe right now we are in an extended time of mercy, no matter how bad it gets. And I'm telling you, there is a cyclone, there is a tornado of challenge that's coming, and we're about on the cusp of it. But God is with us. You don't have to fear it. Please, you don't have to be afraid of this mess, but I also want to say to you, it is coming. Now, there's something really horrible that happened at the Academy, and I'm just going to show you this real quickly. A former wrestler, actor, John Cena, he was there, and they had him doing a presentation, and he came out unclothed, and I'm going to show you just a little bit of this. He came out unclothed, and as he did this, he was kind of covering himself up with the envelope and all that. But I'm just going to show you a very brief clip of this, and then I'm going to stop it because I don't really care to go way into it. But let's just watch this so you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to tell you why I'm showing you this. Look at this. Came out for best costume design naked at the Oscars. Let's stop it here. I don't want to participate in this any further. That kind of nonsense. Let me look right at you. When I showed you this, and it's John Cena coming out, and he's doing these things, many people believe, and I happen to be in this category, at least to a degree, that what they are really saying here, or a sign, is that they do public humiliation as higher powers, hierarchies, Illuminati, those type of people that say, you will do this for us, and these are ritualistic things that are happening. You're seeing all this ritualistic stuff that's happening in many different segments of the culture, including a lot of the areas where we're seeing people being traded, trafficked, all that, and there's ritualistic things happening, and you're seeing this in Hollywood as a ritual, I believe, where he has to do public humiliation as an act of, well, let's call it worship to the wicked lizard overlord agenda that wants to really bring out this Illuminati type narrative. Let's show this just quick clip here of Ryan Garcia. He's making headlines right now for a lot of things, talking about that bohemian place where all the elites gather together and act as wicked and perverted as they possibly can. In the words of Nixon, that's one of the strangest things I've ever seen. But anyway, let's take a look at this. And he claims to have been there. And I'm not going to show you some of the things he begins to say because it gets too graphic. So what I'm going to do is just show this. Maybe on a full disclosure, we can go further. And forgive us if there's any of this that's being edited here because we're being very careful with some of this. But let's take a look at this. Here's Ryan Garcia talking or posting about where he was. And you get little clips of it here. Check this out.
Name you.
Look at that.
Dog. I absolutely don't give a.
It's a video footage of this in California. Presidents go there, global elites go there, all these people go there. Person has video of it. Now, what is this? This is what they call Bohemian Grove. It's one of those places where people gather and they begin to worship all this nonsense, and it is absolute wickedness gone to see. Now, here you see on one hand a big tough guy, like many others, or somebody that sings, "Are we out of the woods? Are we out of the woods? Are we out of the woods yet?" and bought and paid for by Soros, and now with a total I don't know what else to say, but that one football guy that she's with, total meathead, that guy that's, doing what he's doing and all that stuff in the recent Super Bowl scenario, that is bought and paid for by Soros. And you got these people that are going along with the culture. And then at the same time, you're looking at somebody that says, whoa, the things I've seen here and the way that they're handling the young ones, the way they're handling these things, I don't care. And this guy's coming out and calling it out. Now you have to decide what is right. And of course, this is reality, but with a lot of entertainment purposes and for satire for those who are watching. But it's really, something you need to consider. What we're talking about here. What I sense with this Eclipse pathway, let me show you a quick video. We nabbed one just to kind of give you a visual aid, and then I'm going to talk about this for a moment. Let's pull up this solar eclipse video. I want you to see what's coming April the 8th. This is very serious, but there's a prophetic implication to it, and I want you to look at this. Let's put this video on for a moment. Watch this just briefly with me if you would.
Path that the solar eclipse will be taken on April the 8th will literally be going through the towns of Jonah, Texas, several towns and cities named Nineveh, and also, get this, through Rapture, Indiana. It also crosses where the Ark is in Williamston, Kentucky. And that's not even the craziest part. All of this is going to be happening under the constellation Cetus, which literally means the whale.
The whale.
Jesus tells us there will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars for the hour that we are living in.
Now, this is a sign specifically to the United States. Now, there's a lot of nations in the middle of things, and we happen to live here. That's why I talk about it. God called me to America's mountain. When it says, "O purple mountain, majesty, from sea to shining sea," it's talking about Pikes Peak, and we live in Colorado, and that's why I feel a connection to America's mountain, because I'm in the state of Colorado. That being said, look at what this eclipse pathway covers. It covers all this. It happens to cover Rapture, Indiana, Jonah, Texas, several towns named Nineveh, up to 8 of them, going all the way from Eagle Pass in Texas, all the way up to Nova Scotia. You're recognizing that. And it intersects at an amazing street called Salem. It intersects at a street called Salem. Salem. Now, this is wild. When you're looking at what's happening and the implications, I believe it's the days of Noah. I believe we're going to see more of this. Let me just start by saying this. I believe we're going to begin to see more and more of solar flares, right? We're going to see solar flares. We're going to begin to see all this stuff. I believe one of the big signs of the times is we're going to see cyber. I'll call it this. I believe we're going to see this happening at a very high level. I believe we're going to see more and more of that type of narrative taking place, where people begin to go, my goodness, what is going on? What is happening? And a lot of this, without going way into it, is going to be induced over the next year by this AI, let's call it a superintelligence. Okay. They're going to begin to do it more and more, but I believe this is going to advance into a superintelligence, which of course is Antichrist. Not the Antichrist. I believe the Antichrist system is being set up with AI, artificial intelligence. A superintelligence is rising and being given the ability by these people that are programming it, messing with it, all that. And so I'm just looking at this here today, and I just want to say to you that I have a great sense on me about where this is going. Now, let me go into a little bit more. I'm going to share 2 more things here, and this is something I think is very important for us to understand. I saw this word just a little bit ago. I was actually talking with Jason, talking with Elijah, some of my team. Eric was there. And we're just looking at this process, and I began to have a sense that we are going on a collision course with the fall. It's like fall time. How can I say it? It's a fall time outcome. I need you to understand what I'm saying without me just saying it outright. But the word I see with all of this, it's fall time, this collision course that's ultimately happening. I began to look and I said, Lord, why are we not seeing some of the things the way we should, even prophetically? And the Lord began to minister to me and say, I am speaking, but what's going on with it is it's veiled. It's veiled by two things. It's veiled by confusion in the land, meaning the outcome of the fall. I think it's going to be a mess before and a mess after, but it's veiled because it's veiled by what I call supernatural traffic. Okay? You see supernatural traffic happening in this, and when that begins to happen and you're looking at this, there's a for lack of a better word, there's a confetti in the supernatural or spiritual air, so to speak, that has been created by false flags, by prophetic fables. You have so many people talking about their experiences, they're out of control. It's created a blinding swirl, so to speak, that it's hard to determine exactly what is happening. And even if you know what's happening, the Lord's speaking, and I believe I have a word on this. I'm not fully allowed to release it right now, but I do see some of this. But this is what's going on, and this is why people are not absolutely saying, "Thus saith the Lord." But I began to see this, and so what we're looking at here is there's also by the wicked leaders behind the veil, there is also this veiled, I'm going to say it even better here, I'll go this way. It's a veiled indecision. It's a veiled indecisive plan. You say, what does that mean? I believe it has to do with the candidates. They're trying to decide, how are we going to handle the Manchurian candidate? What are we going to do with him? What are we going to do? Do we give him, his pajamas and just let him kind of wander? Or what are we going to do here? And you're beginning to see this kind of thing. There's an indecisive plan that they're happening. And it's almost like, if the sense I get is it's a veiled scenario. And the reason it's veiled is because there's so many people that are behind the scenes going, we're getting closer, we're getting closer, we're getting closer. And it's like, do we go right? Do we go left? Do we go right? Do we go left? You got some going, turn left, turn right. And I believe that there is a indecision and even confusion on the powers that be in darkness that are trying to say, how do we put a foot in to really offset this? And if they can't, they might have to pull the plug and go full cyber pandemic. They might have to go down that road. They might have to actually flip the switch with this, induce all this mess and begin to do it. And this is going to lead, and I began to see for the first time, I began to see a journey, an avenue that after the outcome of this blurry storm, I began to see something, and I saw kind of like this. It was like it just began to go and go and go, and we came to another side of this other storm, so to speak, and we came to, I said, my goodness, what are we doing at that place? And the Lord began to say to me, this will absolutely be the ultimate valley of decision at this point. And this entity here is going to be involved mightily in this scenario. It's already involved now, but not like it will be here. And they will be able to say it truly is in this category when we get to this place. In the same position we're coming into right now, we get to this time frame, and there's going to be the involvement of this superintelligence, this artificial intelligence, this happening, and it's going to be a very, very different world when we come to this point. And this reminds me of 2020 when I began to see what would happen in 22 and 24. And I believe that we're cascading to this. And I remember saying either 45 would win, or someone he handpicked would win, or it would be a whole nother category, or they would absolutely railroad the scenario one more time. And they're trying, but this time light and darkness are colliding in a way they've not collided before. So what we got to do is we got to pray and alter this narrative, because the Spirit of the Lord showed me that at this season, when we came into the fall, especially, I have a sense over, hear me right now, I have a sense over May. Changes. I saw quarter one and in quarter two, but then in May, there's going to be these changes that are either public or they will be very, very private. I'm just putting an I here because that could either be, in the public eye or very private. But in May, there's changes that are going to be adjusted. Things are going to happen there. And then I see very strongly, obviously, the end of summer, you go into that Q3 narrative, and you're going to start to see, man, like a river of challenge. I saw new characters that they're already deciding on, and then they're going to make many different plays here in May. And then through the summer, there's going to be a rolling in, and there'll be new characters. And August, oh my goodness, get ready. Get ready for August. Now, they may allow the Manchurian to just continue to drift right on into this mess. They may allow that. But I also believe that there's going to be new characters. There's things happening. You still got Kamala. You got all this stuff that, the Lord showed me her face several years ago. So I'm looking at all the things I do know. I'm not trying to speculate with what I don't know. But I do have a sense that this is going to be a very wild time right here. And there's going to be changes. There's going to be a lot to be said about August. And get ready. I hear the Spirit saying, get ready. And then we're going to know what we're up against completely. And there'll be that river, as you've seen me draw before, from Q1 to Q3. This river and new characters would be in the river at this point. And there was 45. And he had a decision, or actually he was ready, but we needed to pray. We had to pray to get him across the river and into I saw just a red October and a dark November. And then I saw, 25. Fire. Okay? Yay! Here's what I want to say, though. With all this, 25 fire, 26 pick up sticks. I think there'll be a right sizing in 26. I think when we get to 27, there's going to start to be, we're going to find our footing. I just want to declare, get out the leaven. No leaven in 27 and more of heaven, amen? But you're looking at that, and then I believe 28, we're going to see all of this really coming to a cyclone, almost to a point and a punch, where we come into that time frame. So we got a lot we're looking at here, and I have a sense. And the big word I have, now hear me, and I'm trying to convey this the best I can, but it is veiled. This is a veiled, the whole thing, just bear with me here. The whole thing, like prophetically, when I've been praying about this today, I see veiled. It's like it's all veiled. You know in part, you're prophesying in part, but it's so veiled. There's so much of that's just simply veiled. And the Lord is saying, I need you to trust me, and peace will lead you through this time. Act in faith, stand up in righteousness, fight in a godly manner, spiritually fight in prayer is what I mean. Begin to do what the Lord calls you to do, but it's all veiled. It's veiled and it's hazy in some of these areas because there's so much confetti, so much talk and all that. And the Lord is just saying, I am speaking, but you got to follow me. You got to follow me closely, and I will lead you to the other side of this time. I truly will lead you to the other side, and it's going to be well with you. It will be well with you. I'm telling you right now, sorrow may last for the night, but joy comes in the morning. There will be a joy.
The zombie apocalypse. I know we've always, sort of joked about preparing for the zombie apocalypse, but Bill Gates now has his wish come true.
Ooh, Bill Gates.
Researchers in China have discovered a strain of coronavirus that caused 100% mortality due to late-stage brain infection.
100%.
Could this be X that the Davos crowd is going to discuss this week at the World Economic Forum? Hearing for disease X, AstraZeneca's CEO will be on the panel, so will Dr. Tedros from the World Health Organization. They're saying X could be 20 times more fatal than
20 times.
And so they're prepping for it. They don't know what it is, but they know it will be more fatal. Is that a wish list? So that they want to solve this, it says here, with collaborate surveillance. That's what they think they need. And in fact, today, something that Tony Blair had said is we need to know who's been and how many times, because you need to keep getting all the time. They were doing gain of function research, which basically means they were manipulating disease. By the 7th day, the mice displayed symptoms such as piloerection, hunched posture, sluggish movements, and their eyes turned white.
Oh, wow.
Before they died.
Oh.
What the F?
Well, well, if you can't trust the World Economic Forum, who can you trust? We need a great reset. And you got all those sick, wicked, slimy lizard overlord, goblin, control people trying to take over your life. If you can't trust that, who can you trust? That there's things happening with all the royals. There's things happening in the whole community right now. As a matter of fact, let me come back to this King Charles thing.
Okay.
I think it's going to be important, but we have a clip on this. I want to show this. It's just a quick rundown of some of the things that are recently happening in the sphere of the royals. Let's watch this, even leading up to the Pope, real quick, and then I want to talk about it.
What the hell is going on with the world's royals this year? We're just 2 months in and King Charles has been diagnosed with cancer. Kate Middleton has had abdominal surgery and hasn't been seen since December. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, was diagnosed with skin cancer. Prince Edward, King Charles's brother, needed to take a short break from royal duties. Thomas Kingston, who married into the British royal family, died suddenly at only 45. The King of Norway was rushed to hospital with infection. The Queen of Denmark announced a shock abdication. And the Pope was rushed to hospital while a group of priests were caught joking about him on their YouTube channel. The question is this just a sign that the world's leaders are getting old? Or is 2024 about to be a rough year?
Okay, so here's the point. Now, that was a fast-paced social media type reel, but here's the thing. When you realize what's actually going on, what's happening with them, well, first of all, it could be, and I don't want to go way down this road because I know things can get really dicey with this, but it could be the mark of the beast precursor practice here, this UFO narrative, that what's happening now is even the government officials are beginning to authorize, get this, portable UFO detectors. And they're calling it, get this, gremlins. They're calling these detectors gremlins that will detect UFOs. Now, let's watch this clip on this. I think this is important. I want you to see this part here where we realize what they're saying about it.
Says it hasn't found any evidence of aliens among all the reports of unidentified aerial phenomena, what we used to call UFOs. That's the technical term. But the Pentagon is developing a UFO detection kit just in case. Kristen Fisher has our story from Washington.
Well, this portable UFO or UAP detection kit is called Gremlin. It's being developed by the U.S. military in an effort to respond faster to reported UFO sightings and to collect better data once they get there. Timothy Phillips, who is the acting director of the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Office, the Pentagon's office that investigates UAP sightings, explained these Gremlin sensor kits like this, quote, "What we're doing is developing a deployable, configurable sensor suite that we can put in Pelican cases. Since the UAP target, the signature is not clearly defined, we really have to do hyperspectral surveillance to really try to capture these incidents." Now, hyperspectral means across the entire electromagnetic spectrum. So they're trying to collect everything from X-rays and ultraviolet rays to microwave and radio waves, things really outside the normal signatures of flying objects. Most flying objects, things like jets, produce a big heat signature from their hot engines. Some of these UAPs do not. So that's one thing that these Gremlin sensors are going to help try to do, collect better data. And they're currently being tested at a big range out in Texas. And the Pentagon is especially interested in deploying them at sensitive national security sites, places like U.S. military bases, Navy ships, places where a lot of these UAP sightings have been concentrated. Now, the Pentagon initially shared this news about the Gremlin sensor kits at a briefing with a select group of reporters. CNN's Oren Lieberman was one of them. And at this briefing, the whole point of it was to kind of preview a report that dropped on Friday. And this was a report that the Pentagon put together. And It was mandated by Congress, and what this report concluded is that, quote, the AARO found no evidence that any U.S. government investigation, academic-sponsored research, or official review panel has confirmed that any sighting of a UAP represented extraterrestrial technology. So the report concluded that most sightings were ordinary objects and phenomena and the result of misidentification. But the report still does not explain the UAPs that were caught on camera by U.S. military pilots who testified under oath on Capitol Hill that the UAPs that they saw were behaving in ways that defied the laws of physics. So still a lot of questions here, but the Pentagon is hoping that these gremlin kits, these portable UFO UAP detection kits, will help them collect better data, which can then help them get some better answers. Kristen Fisher, CNN, Washington.
Let me look right at you for a second. So I just want to go into this because we realize there's a lot going on, and they're saying, oh my goodness, you don't have to really pay attention to this because most of this stuff's not real. But there is that one little segment, and I believe there's going to be ultimate disclosure. I'm talking ultimate disclosure where finally they begin to say, this is where it is. And I believe that's going to lead to an interview with an entity or an entity talking, landing, appearing, hovering over a city. I believe this is coming. But number one, I'm going to just go down the list again. Number one, I believe it is tech. Okay? There's tech with the government or different areas that we don't know what really is available out there. And I think there's a lot of tech that's happening that different governments or development people, places, that are just able to bring this stuff out. I think of like the Monkey Works, all those places that build these things and launch them out. There could be secret agencies that are doing this. Who knows? We're seeing wild stuff in the sky. I believe that the tech we're seeing is beyond what people realize, and so they could be mistaking some of the things for that. Number two, when you look at this, I believe it is a Project Bluebeam scenario. And you say, why is that? Project Bluebeam is a statement or a name for holographic images that they'll put into the sky or against a cloud, or a way that they can begin to project what I believe will be a fake UFO or alien or religious invasion or messianic return or second coming type of narrative. And now in this, you got to realize they also have a lot of understanding with this, that they can project things to people where they can make you hear things and think things. And if they were to put something in the sky and do a deception where they said, oh yeah, Jesus has returned, or some other religion has returned, or we're being invaded by UFOs, and it'll be another scenario, just like when the War of the Worlds radio broadcast happened. Orson Welles was read by the man of God, not the man of God, the guy on the radio, who H.G. Wells. Orson Welles read H.G. Wells, and he read that on the radio, and people thought it was a real UFO invasion from Mars. And you're seeing this. And so I believe this will be another form of that. Project Bluebeam will be that. And this is a way to gain control under one ruler and say, hey, we got to come together and we've got to unite. We've got an unprecedented battle, and it's going to be, Independence Day, like that movie where the world unites to take this on, and it's a total deception to get people to do what they want. But it could also be a fake control through religion, because just because they can induce UFO stuff, they could induce falsified religious settings in the sky, wherever, and fake things. Number three, let's go into this. Number three, it could be real. You say real? You just said it was false. Why are you talking about real? Well, real as in you've got fallen angels, you've got demonic activity, and I believe there's a lot to do with this that really can use interdimensional. They can go between dimensions because of spiritual abilities that they could do all this. Now, I can go wait on that road. I had L.A. Marzulli on. We just started to touch on this. I'll go into this further another time, but I wanted to point this stuff out because I believe this stuff is serious. But number four, and this is something that sounds really simple, but it's not that simple. Number four, you could even say it kind of mirrors this one. and this one have a little bit of a mirror together. But honestly, a lot of people are only seeing this stuff through the internet, through YouTube, through other things like that. So what does that mean? What they're seeing is potentially through videos online, CGI, computer generated images. Computer generated images. Let me write that clear because I kind of mashed those letters together. Let's do it clearer just so you can see it better. But I'm talking about CGI. You say, my goodness, what are you talking about? Well, I believe that there's so much of this going on. I've had people say, I think that's real. I think this, I think that. And if you're in the space where you really watch for this stuff, you can kind of determine what's real and what's not through computer-generated imagery. And I believe a lot of what we're seeing with this is fake through CGI or computer-generated images that you see online. And you can kind of determine what's fake and what's not. The issue at hand with this is now you get AI involved, though. You get AI involved, and pretty soon you won't be able to tell what's fake and what's not, and you're going to begin to see major deception. That's not even, it's not even through what they blast into the sky, but I believe a lot of the stuff we've seen or are seeing is CGI, and it's going to get so good, people will not be able to determine what is what. So that's what I'm seeing. Not only will they blast it in the sky, but they're going to put it online for people on television. AI will brush it up so much and create it to such a level. I believe we're 1 year away from saying, hey, make me a sequel to this last movie I just saw. I want it different. Make it this way with these actors and redo it, or give me a sequel to a movie I've always wanted to see. And I think AI can do it in a heartbeat. Now, unless there's some kind of Hollywood writer's strike where they stop that, I truly believe they're going to get to that point where we're going to see where you just ask the computer to do it and it will create it. I had a vision a few years back about augmented reality, and that would begin to be a deception. People would be so tied into it and enjoy it so much because of the entertainment value, the interest value, the educational value, and it'll become so real that people are going to buy into it. And they're saying and speculating there could be a whole generation of people in the future that never leave their homes again. They never leave their homes again because they live in VR goggles or with the implants, and they're just experiencing the world through a virtual reality. And I got to tell you, all this stuff is leading towards that, and then they could usher in this deception. They might not even have to if they got everybody plugged in. And I think there's a lot of wickedness involved in this, but there's more to come with this. Now, speaking of Mr. Technology and AI stuff, I want to talk about this for a moment because I saw something yesterday and again today, so I'm just going to say it. I saw Elon. You say, okay, here we go. What are we talking about? I saw him again, but this time I saw something involving politics. Now, where this starts and stops, you'll have to determine this, but there's something involved in politics where he'll either have a voice to them, or he might join them, he might run. Something's going on here, and there has been conversation behind the scenes about this. There really has. I think that he is another version, and I'm not saying a good one. I'm not trying to say there's anything good with this. I'm just saying I sense things. I'm reporting things I sense. And there's another conversation too with Tucker. And I don't know that the two are on the same page or if that's where this is headed, but there's something going on with this whole picture here. And again, I need to say this, that there is, over this season of time we're looking at right now with all of it and where this is headed, I believe, and by design, let me just say this, I believe by design over this whole time frame right here, that I believe what we're experiencing in the time we're living in is a veil. There is indeed a veil over all this. A veil over what's to come. So I'm going to just put an eyeball this way. Okay? I believe there's a veil over what's to come. I think they're telling us what their plans are. Okay? Now that's an eyeball looking at all this. I think that they're telling us what they want to do, but I think that there's a veil supernaturally over all of it. And some of it is at the Lord's hand. He's allowing some of this. And the reason I say this is because I believe that what's going to take place is if we pray, if we begin to pray, this veiled area, all the things that we're seeing here, I believe the Spirit of the Lord is saying that if we begin to pray, that he'll begin to remove the veil in many areas, because right now it's veiled, right? We see all this. It's just like a big veil. We're not sure what's going on entirely, but we can see in part. We're prophesying in part. We're picking things up. But I'm telling you, the Spirit of the Lord is going to begin to make a great way where there has been no way. And God is going to bring to some of this, I'm telling you right now, as we're praying, as the watchman anointing is here, I believe the veil will be removed. And instead of a veil, I believe we're going to begin to see powerful, I believe we're going to see clarity. And we're going to see clarity going into this next year, this next couple years, because I do believe that we got to run here. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 is going to be a major monumental milestone. And people say, we won't be here in 28. Well, maybe not. But here's what I do know. I believe the Spirit of the Lord is saying that this is the time where the young lions are going to be needed and they're going to be rising. There's going to be a mighty step and a staging forward. Now, that means there's always a counterfeit to the real. There's always something genuine. There's always something negative. But when the young lions stand up, I believe there's going to be a change and a transitional grace that begins to happen. So in this time frame, I believe there will be clarity. I believe we'll be able to see what the Lord is saying about a number of things, but I believe there's going to be clarity during this time because of prayer, because of intercession, and we're going to start to see breakthroughs taking place. Now, in this whole narrative of clarity, I believe, let me just say that it sounds weird to throw this out there, but I'm just going to do it. I believe there's going to be cosmic things that are revealed along this way, such as the asteroid narrative. I believe that we're going to see comets, signs with comets, and I believe near-Earth objects, okay, those NEOs, near-Earth objects, is going to become a major buzzword in the years ahead. I really got to tell you, this is something that's been on my grid mightily, and I believe this is very, very serious topic that's going to come up. Near-Earth objects, I believe there's going to be more clarity on this by this year and past it, okay? Now, should we get past, and I'm just going to put it out here, okay, should we get past the year 2029 with the Apophis scenario and all the asteroids going on there with Apophis, I believe we're going to have another transitional grace. If we get past 2029, we get past this, I believe there will be another season of grace after this year. That's if we get past this without something catastrophic happening. And I'll tell you, I'm praying about this because this year, there is not nothing here. There is something about the spring of this year. There's something about this year that is very serious, but we just got to keep praying. And this stuff is not meant to bring fear or trepidation or concern. It's so we pray. It's so we stand in the kingdom of God. Let me just write this in so you can see it better. But 2029, I believe, is serious. But I also believe so is God's grace. Very serious. God is long-suffering, slow to anger, abounding in love and mercy. I want to say a very special thank you to our partners. Whether you've been a partner with us from the very beginning, or if you've recently become part of our partner family, we simply want to say thank you. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you, because it means so much that you're standing with us. We're accomplishing a lot together. And I'll tell you, if you're interested in becoming part of our partner family, I'd encourage you to go to josephz.com or text the keyword give to 719-259-0029. You know, we want to welcome you to the family, and we will be calling you. If you become a partner, we call you regularly, and we love talking to you. Our team calls you. It's not a call center. It's our team. We love our partners. I hope you'll consider it. I hope you're praying about it, and I hope you become a part of our partner family today. We are living in a last days culture, and you've got to understand something. Both God and the kingdom of darkness are territorial, and you are the hinge pin. You are absolutely the emissary, the free moral agent of permission to give access to light or darkness. I'm Joseph Z, and I recently had the Spirit of the Lord speak to me to write this book, Servants of Fire. It is a last days prayer, intercession and prophecy manual for how to rise up, activate the forces of heaven to work on your behalf. We go into so many things in this book that I know God spoke to me about from His Word that's going to greatly impact you and take you forward. The world is crazy. Things are getting wild, but you can overcome with the spiritual forces of heaven right from the manual that's written in this book. We go into everything from dealing with strange encounters, wicked spirits, how to push back authorities that are of dominion of evil and take territory in Jesus. I got to tell you, this book is a must-have for your library, a must-have. It will navigate you right through these difficult days, and you will see victory, you will see results. Did you know most Christians, most believers, have everything they need? All they need is a revelation of what they have. And this book will provide that for you. You need it. I'm telling you, it's a now word, a revelation. I'm Joseph Z. I hope you pick up Servants of Fire for your future and your benefit today.